institutional coordination. The movement is timely. Global markets are expanding, industrial policy is aligning, domestic processing capacity is growing. The imperative is clear, Mr. President. Ghana must expand production strategically and competitively. Let this summit signal a new phase, one defined by coordination, competitiveness, and long-term commitment. On behalf of the board of the Tree Crop Development Authority, I reaffirm our resolve to provide responsible leadership in advancing this sector for national prosperity. On that note, I want to say thank you, Mr. President, for coming, and I'll walk you shortly to the presentation. This is just a welcome message for you, Mr. President, and my king. Thank you. Mr. President, right. Mr. President, just to let you know, some of them you have seen in a video already, but to put this in context, why tree crops matter at this time, you realize that the global scale and growth is there. I've indicated 230 billion worth is the global market, with 5% compound annual growth rate. Ghana, all the things we are doing, we are putting in 750 million, not even 1 billion. That is the opportunity for us. I indicated 2 billion livelihoods are supported. Now, across northern and southern Ghana, this is not like cocoa. Cocoa is largely in only the southern sector, but the tree crop is a northern and south. Now, strong employment multiplier. One of the projects alone that you are implementing, the oil palm that you want to do this year, 100,000 hectares new plantation, can take on 250 direct jobs. So it's a very strong employment multiplier. Now, under your flagship program, the 24-hour economy, this sector is the driver for the agro-industrialization, Your Excellency. Mr. President, just to give you a snapshot of the structural gaps and institutional analysis, you could see that the poor farmer organization that we have, we are all relying on rainfall agriculture, and there's no irrigation for tree crops despite climate change challenges. Nothing smart goes in there. Our smallholder farmers are not well organized despite NENTE produce contribution to the production. Smallholder farmers do not have access to certified inputs to boost productivity. Now, we come to the fragmentation of the value chain actors. It's not coordinated very well. Value chain actors, the link from the mainstream production. And lastly, we could see that there's lack of state-of-the-art processing facilities to undertake value addition. I will tell you a wonderful story afterwards. So, Mr. President, we just, under your leadership, we have just taken that CECOMS is beyond cocoa. And now you know what CECOM is. Our cashew, coconut, oil, palm, rubber goes beyond this. We are looking, cocoa has been the backbone for long, and we want to go beyond that. So our bold tagline representing Ghana's commitment to diversify the tree crop sector is CECOMS, our future. So when I shout CECOMS, then we respond our future. CECOMS. CECOMS. Thank you very much. President, the global leadership, TCDA under your leadership is determined to position Ghana as a global leader in the tree crop industry. for consequential socio-economic development as you are pursuing. So the economic transformation, we are looking at building sustainable wealth through cashew, coconut, oil palm, mango, rubber, and share. The value chain beneficiaries, Mr. President, it will interest you to know the people who benefit. Look of input dealers, farm service providers, suppliers of inputs, transportation and logistics is a huge thing under our sector. Financial institutions, people need money now. Then you come to the smallholder farmers, the youth and women driving production across the processes. Someone here and a company here is doing processing and manufacturing the best in the world, and I'll talk about that. Export market is also there, huge one. So, President, we want to unleash the potential. We are using the growth pole model, expansion of output, research and development, strong ENS promotion, new technologies, that's the value addition, new industrial setups. We collaborate with institutions. That is why, Mr. President, you see a lot of state institutions are here, and we'll build talents on that. The main focus will be on sustainability, which shall be the heartbeat of every value chain. So we are burning the candle from both ends, Mr. President. Mr. President, strategically, we're just giving ourselves some vision, 2026 and to 2030, just to focus on our production expansion, productivity, industrial growth. Then we come to up to digital enablement. So, President, this is where I want us to focus, and this is where the summit is hinging on. Currently, in 2026, as we have entered, Ghana's production of cashew, raw cashew nut, the RCN, average we are producing 250,000 metric tons. About 95% exported. Our brothers from Ivory Coast are producing 1.1 million metric tons, and we are doing 250. That speaks. So, under that, we want to stretch and produce about 600,000 metric tons. At least we are stretching ourselves. It's a leap jump. And also targeting processing 50% of this locally. And the investment that will require here, Mr. President, is getting elite seedlings, that's the quality seedlings, getting nurseries and land banks, funds to support processing capacities, modern processing equipment, research and development into this byproduct development. And by your intervention, Mr. President, there's a project that government you're undertaking, which is the tree crop that was supposed to boost cashew. With our portion is about 100 million US dollars. What we need to give free seedlings, as we want to do this year, to farmers, over 10,000 farmers and beyond. Cashew, that is about cashew, rubber, and then coconut. Malaysia speaker is here. Indonesia. They are producing oil palm of 44.7 million metric tons. Indonesia and Malaysia. Now, we want to stretch this to 1.1 million metric tons. And then again, make sure that we process here and have 40% import substitution. Seedlings across, the investment required, the modern equipment and all that. Again, the investment required here is your 100,000 hectare new plantation. You are raising 500 million US dollars to do that, which the financing process is going on under your leadership. Now, come to share. Share, we are producing 130,000 metric tons. 90% or 95% raw share is exported. Now, our neighbors and brothers, big brothers, they are producing 450,000 metric tons. So we want to stretch it to 350,000 metric tons, 60 modern, and then we make sure that we become 40% import substituted. Again, we require funds require modern collection and picking solutions for the share industry. Research and development is also there. The last three, but not the least, is rubber. I know, Mr. President, we heard a lot about rubber in the media recently, and they are doing everything possible, but this is the statistics. We are producing 145,000 metric tons, roughly, even it's around 120. 95% is exported. We are stretching to make it 400,000 metric tons and make sure that 50% is processed here. Again, we require early seedlings, land for that, outgrower systems. Under that, the tree crop diversification project is supposed to supply free seedlings and input to that. And at the same time, under the cashew, they were to give matching grants to big processors and SMEs, which have launched that already, that we are going to come out, all processors who are into this cashew and then coconut and rubber have the opportunity to get the matching grant under your leadership. Then we come to mango. So, President, 150,000 metric tons of mango is produced now. We want to stretch to 450,000. Increase productivity using smart agriculture systems. Irrigation infrastructure is key under mango system, R&D. And the sixth one, Mr. President, is coconut. Coconut, we are doing well by providing even for 504,000 metric tons. And if it comes to Africa, we even happens to be number one, the 12th number one. But Mr. President, all these things are exported to our neighboring countries without even coordinated very well. And we are ready to make sure that it stays here for processing. We want to produce 1 million metric tons for a start and process 50% here. Again, as I indicated, the tree crop diversification project as an initiative under your leadership also needs to address that. It's also addressing that. Mr. President, at the end of the day, you want to have a substantial growth in export earnings. We want to at least have 500,000 new jobs created. We want to see a significant hectare expansion, and above all, we are targeting at least an average of $2 million per our crop, which when you multiply by 6 will give us 12 billion per annum projected foreign exchange looking at the next decade. The targets are structured, measurable, and aligned with national economic transformation objectives. President, these are the investment promotion and opportunities. Our summit is hinging on these areas. We want everybody to know that we have opportunity for plantations and nursery development. We have large-scale cultivation, outgrower schemes. We have ultra-modern processing facilities and aggregation, infrastructure, export partnership, and digital traceability systems. President, to interest you to know that we have in our midst here one of the biggest processing and manufacturing company, investor who has traveled all the way from Vietnam. They help Tanzania to boost their cashew sector. And when he saw the things that you are doing in Ghana here, he has to pay for his flight, bring his team, stay in the hotel. He wants to be part. Is John here? Can you be upstairs so that the president see you? They are ready to set up a modern processing. Again, the difference, probably we might have to meet him. They manufacture the machinery. The whole world, they are number one. So just for you to know that that's the reason I'm talking about investment. They came all the way. Let's appreciate him for coming. John, thank you. So, President, now my call to you and all gathered here. Partner TCDA for this transformative impact. The central government, collaboration on policy alignment, initiatives, designs, standards development are key. And here we are working with state institutions properly. Local government, facilitating land access, and then permit processing in all our things is also key. my Lord, the traditional authorities. That's why you see His Royal Majesty sending his own. He wanted to be here. In fact, let me use this to acknowledge the Chief of Staff of His Royal Majesty Otumfuo, Mr. Kofi Bedru is here. He asked to bring Nana to this. So, Chief of Staff of the His Majesty is here, Mr. Kofi Bedru. You are welcome. Let's appreciate that. That shows that Otumfuo himself makes sure that his son comes in because what he's treating is very important. The private sector, I'm calling on you. This is the land to put your money in. This is the fertile grounds. Then traditional MMEs, yesterday, I think this in the course of you hear about prisons, the idea they have about the tree crop, what I discussed with the Director General. Financial institutions, this is the time for you. Development partners. Once again, I want to commend the World Bank. World Bank, Ashwini and the team, they are doing well. Let's appreciate World Bank. They are doing well for us. And then the Swiss company, Swiss ambassador is here. Thank you very much for the project we are doing with, and many other partners that I cannot. So, President, this is the big one. I'm proposing a national initiative where that will recommend a mandatory tree crop cultivation policy for public servants, civil servants, members of parliament, ministers of state, and government appointees. Now, the recommendation is each individual should establish and own a minimum of 10 hectares, which is about 25 acres of tree crops appropriate to your ecological. This will be a policy criteria for appointment qualification. And for your information, the president has qualified. He will tell you, I was amazed. I know of other tree crops he has done. He just mentioned to me a new one. It's strange. Another 100, I want him to come and say it himself. So the president has qualified to be appointed. Hey, we can't re-elect him again, right? Yeah, let's try. Because he qualifies. So that anybody who is in the public service should own 10 hectares. President, you know what we do? Going for retirement, you will not struggle. Your future is secured. That is what I'm recommending for my colleague public servants and CEOs and civil servants. I've told them, so when it's time for you to retire, you don't need to go for extension, anything. You have to go to your farm and then processing plant and go and enjoy. So that is, and this has been successfully implemented in Cote d'Ivoire. And that's how they are able to talk of 1.2 million metric tons and stuff like that. So, Mr. President, in conclusion, Ghana has the foundational asset required for success in tree crops. The productive lands are available, experienced farmers are there, expanding processing capacity, and access to global markets is huge. What is required now is discipline, coordination, and scale execution. And Seacombs Beyond Cocoa provide a structured framework to translate the potential into measurable outcomes. And here, with a coordinated leadership and sustained investment, Ghana can secure a competitive and enduring position in the global trade economy. Thank you, Mr. President.
Ladies and gentlemen, help me appreciate Dr. Andrew Seogra for his leadership, his stewardship, and most importantly, his visionary leadership. Please, a round of applause once again. And all he has achieved has been on the back of teamwork. I'd like to salute his two lieutenants who assist him, deputy CEOs in charge of operations, finance and admin. Ladies and gentlemen, Rich Kofi Chor and Stephen Asante Aqua. Please, a round of applause. Let's see them up. Thank you very much. But it's not complete without a 29-member board headed by Professor William Odro. Please, let's see you up on your feet. Thank you. 29-member board, absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, sitting on top of the board and management is the real boss of Dr. Okra. I give to you Mrs. Alice Osei Okra. Thank you for giving me peace to operate. We proceed with remarks from our partners who join us. Let's receive from the World Bank a country manager, ladies and gentlemen, representative of Dr. Robert Telicio O'Brien. A round of applause.
Your Excellency, President John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, distinguished of His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Eric Opoku, Minister of Food and to be before you to thank you for the privilege of speaking on behalf of Dr. Robert Telicio, who is the Division Director of the World Bank for Ghana, Liberia, and Sierra Leone, at the occasion of this 2026 Ghana Tree Crops Investment Summit and Exhibition. After Dr. Andy's deep presentation, there are many points that have already been raised, so forgive me if some of these are repetitive of the enthusiasm that you showed in your presentation. This important summit appropriately focuses on a cornerstone of Ghana's agricultural transformation, the sustainable growth of the tree crops value chain, which is a key to stimulate economic growth, advance export diversification, and create jobs, while enhancing farmer livelihoods and productivity. Tree crops are also an invaluable asset to Ghana to promote agroforestry, aid in reforestation, rehabilitate degraded lands, and facilitate carbon capture and storage, another dimension and benefit. The World Bank congratulates you, Your Excellency, and your government, as well as the Ministry of Food and Agriculture and the Ghana Tree Crop Development Authority, for your commitment to the expansion and diversification of Ghana's tree crop value chain, including cocoa, but also cashew, coconut, rubber, oil palm, mango, and shea. Succeeding in this endeavor will diversify Ghana's export basket, generate external revenues, increase farmer productivity, and most importantly, improve livelihoods. I also want to recognize the government's ambition to expand oil palm commercialization by 100,000 hectares by 2030, and the World Bank's support for this agenda and work with government to advance it. Recognizing the vast potential of tree crops to contribute to growth, jobs, and poverty reduction, the World Bank Group has been a long-standing partner in this sector, providing significant financing and technical support since 2019, and over $200 million in financing to improve the tree crop value chain through a tree crop diversification project. The World Bank Group also provides support through IFC, our sister organization working with the private sector, and in partnership with the Swiss State Secretaries of Economic Affairs, SECO, for which we thank the Swiss government. Nobody in this room ignores how essential agriculture is to the livelihood of Ghanaians and the enormous potential of the tree crops sector overall. The agricultural sector generates 1/5 of Ghana's GDP, and almost 40% of the labor force is employed in it. 70% of active women work in agriculture. Tree crops make up approximately 85% of Ghana's agricultural exports, with cocoa representing 70% of that total, even though tree crops only occupy 24% of the agricultural land. The tree crop subsector includes commercial producers, traders, aggregators, processors, and rests on a multitude of smallholders who rely on these crops for their subsistence. Its importance can therefore not be underestimated. Ghana also possesses today, as Dr. Andy expressed very clearly, the institutional framework needed to manage the tree crop market. The TCDA, created by the Tree Crops Development Act of 2019 and the Tree Crop Regulation adopted in 2023, have put in place the core mandates and tools necessary to regulate and sustainably expand, commercialize, and promote the sector, including the ability to identify and develop sustainable sources of financing for the subsector, improve trading of tree crops, and register and license actors. The World Bank's Tree Crop Diversification Project supports the success of these objectives and is poised for its full deployment. To achieve all this potential and position Ghana as a global leader, as is ambition today, challenges remain, however, to be collectively addressed. I want to cite three. They include significantly increasing the productivity level of tree crops, as productivity challenges exist in the cultivation of cashew, coconut, and rubber, where the adoption of improved agricultural techniques, the use of higher yielding climate resilient crop varieties, and improvements in input use, as well as the combating of pests and diseases like the Cape St. Paul wilts disease, have become urgent. Second, the puzzle of value addition needs to be solved. Today, the quasi-totality, about 95% of the value of Ghana's raw cashew nut, for instance, on export, is generated after the beans and nuts are shipped out of the country to Asia, Europe, and South Asia. Providing the right enabling environment to attract investors to process and add value to these precious natural commodities is a real priority. Focusing on this aspect will enable Ghana to capture the full value of its products, create transformation and processing jobs, and generate significant economic growth and job growth. Cashew processing, which is particularly labor-intensive and employs around 80% women, is a value chain of particular interest in this regard, in addition to those already cited by Dr. Andy. Similarly, small-scale artisans, women, and communities can expand value addition by processing byproducts such as cashew apples and shells for feed and food ingredients, coconut shells to produce charcoal and activated carbon for air conditioning, car filters, and as a source of sustainable fuel, but also as an input to the absorption in the recovery of gold and other precious metals. So the coconut truly stands out as a champion of zero waste, which Ghana can exploit. Third, building on the institutions in place and TCDA's progress in organizing the sector, the regulation and governance of the tree crop sector must function optimally to ensure that tree crop value chains develop sustainably and generate benefits for all stakeholders. Adapted fiscal policies, land policies, and attention to environmental management, adequate pricing systems, and accountability mechanisms are essential to enable investment and the performance of producers and processors, and to improve the competitiveness of Ghana's tree crop products. This also means addressing smuggling as well as the threats posed by illegal mining. The World Bank Group looks forward to continuing its collaboration with the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Agriculture, COCOBOD, TCDA, to support reforms and investment aimed at addressing each one of these challenges. In sum, Excellency, the World Bank Group looks forward to continuing its extensive collaboration with your government and with the private sector and other development partners in this area, towards supporting Ghana's ambitious palm oil development plans and also towards implementing the tree crop diversification project, which aims to benefit over the next 4 years 50,000 farmers, generate 90,000 hectares of productive landscapes, achieve a net reduction of 382,000 tons of greenhouse gases per year, while leveraging approximately 30 million through public-private partnerships and facilitating the entry to large-scale processors, some of whom are present here at this conference today. We hope this will also generate an estimated 20,000 additional jobs in the downstream agribusiness in this project, through this project alone. We're confident that the government's sustained attention and action for the benefit of farmers and of all stakeholders can generate a forward leap in the responsible expansion of the tree crop sector and, importantly, in the scaling up of in-country value addition to Ghana's precious tree crop commodities. Please rest assured, Excellency, of the World Bank Group's steadfast and wholehearted support in this endeavor. Merci pas. Thank you.
Many thanks to you, Michelle Keane, representing the country director of the World Bank to Ghana. Thank you very much for those warm thoughts. Mr. President, honorable ministers, Your Majesty, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, information reaching me from my boss, Dr. Andy Osei Okra, says since the protocols have been duly established, all speakers who come forth should just make it simple. Mr. President, honorable ministers, Your Majesty, ladies and gentlemen, and shoot straight into your submission. You have 3 minutes to present. Is that agreeable? Is that okay with all of us? Please, a round of applause for my boss. And so it now falls to our next speaker, the Secretary General of the Council of Palm Oil Producing Countries. For the next 3 minutes, please make welcome Madame Izana Saleh.
A very good morning. Thank you for the clarification. Excellency President, His Majesty, ladies and gentlemen, it is a big honor and privilege to represent the Council of Palm Oil Producing Countries here this morning, especially in this beautiful country where it is my first time being here. When the TCDA extended the invitation to us end of last year, we at the Council said yes without hesitation because Ghana is important to us. We've seen the great growth under the Excellency President Mahama's esteemed leadership, and we are confident that Ghana will continue to progress as a global powerhouse. Ghana has long demonstrated, round of applause, please. Ghana has long demonstrated that tree crops are not peripheral commodities through cocoa and other strategic crops. This country has shown how they can anchor rural livelihoods, generate foreign exchange, and strengthen national resilience. Palm oil represents similar strategic opportunity. Across Africa, demand for vegetable oils continue to rise, driven by your population growth, urbanization, and evolving consumption patterns. And Ghana reflects this very trend. Domestic production has remained relatively stable while demand continues to expand, and the resulting import gap is not simply a trade statistic. It is a development opportunity and one that can unlock domestic value creation across farming, processing, logistics, and food manufacturing. The question, therefore, that we have here today is not whether demand exists. It does. The question is, how do we build competitiveness in a way that is sustainable, inclusive, and nationally empowering? And this is where Ghana's recent policy, the National Policy on Integrated Oil Palm Development 26 to 2032, becomes truly strategic. The policy outlines clear ambitions. Expansion of plantations to 100,000 hectares, creation of 250,000 jobs across the value chain, and achieving self-sufficiency in palm oil. What we see from established producing countries is that competitiveness does not come from expanding land area alone. It comes from building strong access to domestic and regional markets. But when value chains are integrated and well-governed, sustainability becomes practical, scalable, and aligned with national development priorities. Tree crops must be positioned as more than just commodities, but as a strategic instrument of agro-industrialization and rural transformation. As Ghana strengthens your palm oil sector, its leadership in West Africa places it in a unique position to contribute to and benefit from deeper cooperation among producing countries. At the Council of Palm Oil Producing Countries, or CPOPC as we're known, we stand ready to welcome and engage Ghana through structured South-South cooperation. Sharing institutional experience, smallholder integration models, regulatory approaches, there is clear strategic alignment.
4 minutes, 11 seconds. He tried. Please, a round of applause. Zana Saleh, Secretary General of the Council of Palm Oil Producing Countries. Thank you ever so much. Next, the President, Commercial Development, I beg your pardon, and Innovation, who is also the Vice President of AAKAB. Make welcome Mr. Neil Sons.
'Esteemed Mr. President, Honourable Ministers, Your Majesty, distinguished guests, partners and innovators, good morning. It's a real privilege to be here in Accra representing AAK and to participate in the opening of this summit. These days together, they underscore a shared belief that Ghana's crop sector, especially shea, can move decisively from resource-based to value-driven, from informal to industrial, and from locally important to globally significant, given the right shared focus and investment. Just last week, AAK Ghana signed a strategic memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to invest in the shea sector. That moment, formalised with the Honourable Erik Opoku and supported by the Embassy of Denmark, was much more than just a ceremony. It was a statement of shared belief and intent. At AAK, our relationship with Ghana dates all the way back to 1958. And in the time in between, we have witnessed the extraordinary potential of this country, not only its natural resources, but most importantly, its people. And nowhere is that more evident than in the shea sector. Shea is much more than a tree. It's much more than an ingredient component. Shea is a livelihood. Shea is heritage. And for hundreds of thousands of Ghanaian women, shea provides dignity, shea provides income, shea provides independence. And it's the endeavours of those industrious women who create moments of joy and happiness for millions of people around the world, as these shea kernels, coupled with AAK science and technology and our culinary craft, is transformed. The shea kernels is transformed to deliver taste, to deliver texture, to establish functionality across many consumer products, from chocolate to baked goods, from plant-based foods to skin hydration and protection. Millions of consumers enjoy these products globally every day. But the shea sector did not come about by chance. Over many years in AAK, we have invested significantly in sourcing models, quality systems, processing technology, new product development and application expertise, but most critically, global business development initiatives to create demand, positioning shea as a trusted, high-performance ingredient in markets from Japan to Brazil, from Sweden to Australia. Today, for example, shea is integral to global chocolate formulations in premium skin cosmetics, a reality that did not exist at scale a few decades ago. It required long-term investment, technical development, customer engagement and education with determined focus on resilience. But the journey of shea from raw material to added value ingredient is really underway, and Ghana has really been central to it. And what we now must focus on is acceleration. Acceleration of local processing, of skills development, and the acceleration of homegrown innovation and homegrown entrepreneurship, ensuring value created in global markets is anchored here in Ghana to continue the positive momentum for a better future. This is a shared responsibility. We in industry must continue to invest. Government must continue to enable. Together, we must ensure competitiveness, predictability, and long-term sustainability, so these markets and product segments continue to grow and continue to be enjoyed by consumers in some of the world's most recognised brands. Sustainability AAK, being a Swedish company, sustainability lies at the very heart of our AAK culture, our values and our everyday lives. Through our pioneering Kolono Faso programme, we are committed to sustainable sourcing, supporting more than 230,000 women shea collectors, strengthening income stability, safety and community resilience. But that scale alone is not enough. That is why collaboration with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture in Ghana also focuses on local innovation, local skills and local value addition across the entire supply chain. By establishing a local innovation academy, investing locally in small and medium-sized enterprises and young entrepreneurs, as well as committing to sustainability and shea reforestation, we are helping to maintain and build a resilient shea ecosystem, one that creates jobs, one that grows exports, and one that builds value right here in Ghana. As I conclude these opening remarks, this summit matters. It matters because transformation does not happen in isolation. It happens when government, industry, farmers, financiers, innovators and communities align behind a common agenda, one grounded in sustainability, one grounded in competitiveness, one grounded for long-term impact, and one grounded in mutual respect. At AAK, our purpose is simple: making better happen. Better ingredients, better livelihoods, better value chains, and ultimately, better futures. I thank the organisers, the Tree Crop Development Authority, the Ministry for Food and Agriculture, and all the partners present today for your leadership and commitment. The conversations we have here, they have the potential to shape the next chapter of Ghana's agricultural and industrial success. We in AAK, we want to be part of that. So let's be ambitious, let's be pragmatic, let's work together. And overall, this inspiring vision we heard so eloquently this morning, let's turn this inspiring vision into measurable impact. Thank you sincerely, and I wish you a great summit.
Many thanks to you, Mr. Neil Sands, President, Commercial Development and Innovation and Vice President, AAK-AB. If development does not happen in isolation, we know this all too well, given the collaboration we enjoy with Switzerland. Please make welcome the Ambassador, Her Excellency Simon Gija, for her remarks.
His Excellency, the President of Ghana, His Royal Majesty, Honourable Ministers of State, all protocols observed. It is a true pleasure to join you today at the maiden Ghana Tree Crops Investment Summit and Exhibition, a summit that is not just an event, but a signal of intent about Ghana's future. On behalf of the Government of Switzerland, I'm proud that we stand here among the partners of this important initiative. This summit is built on a powerful belief that agriculture, and especially tree crops, can drive jobs, growth, and environmental stewardship at the same time. This is not a small ambition, it is transformation. Switzerland values its long-standing partnership with Ghana and is proud to walk this path together with you. In fact, our partnership spans more than 2 decades. It has evolved with Ghana's ambitions and realities, yet it remains rooted in a simple truth. Lasting prosperity is built by a vibrant private sector, strong institutions, and real partnerships. There is a Ghanaian proverb, after the storms comes the calm. Storms test resilience. They reveal strength. Ghana has shown both. Reminds us, when the roots are deep, there is no reason to fear the wind. Ghana's mission, and above all, in the resilience of its people. Our job is to deepen those roots further so that growth can withstand any wind. Switzerland's new cooperation program with Ghana focuses strongly on improving the business environment and strengthening value chains like cashew, oil palm, shea, and cocoa. Why? Because these sectors create jobs, build skills, and anchor rural economies. Our belief is that when value is added locally, wealth stays locally. And let us be clear, many of these value chains are powered by women. When we invest in tree crops, we invest in women farmers, women processors, and women traders. And when women thrive, households thrive, communities thrive, and economies thrive. This summit thus sends a strong message. Ghana is ready for sustainable agribusiness investment. The opportunities are real, the potential is significant, and the time is now. But success will require bold partnerships, responsible investment, and innovation. It will require investors who think long-term and partners who value sustainability. Ladies and gentlemen, the future of Ghana's tree crop sector is promising. With strong governance, clear policies, and committed partners, Ghana can build a green economy that benefits farmers, businesses, and communities alike. Switzerland stands ready to continue supporting reforms, building confidence, and attracting investment that unlocks Ghana's full potential. I would like to congratulate the organizers and encourage all participants. Use this summit to build real partnerships, make real commitments, and pursue real impact. Nye Ivaladon Akbenami Midamoase.
2 minutes, 51 seconds, please. A round of applause for her. Thank you very much. And so shortly we get to hear from our guest, our special guest, His Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu, the Asante Hene. But before that, a little cultural delight as we treat you to warm sounds and sights of Ghana. Please, a round of applause for the cultural troupe. It seems to be a long time coming. Let's bring the music down. Your Excellency, the President, Honorable Ministers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, long before this summit became Tutu the second, the Asante Hene, championed the cause of tree crop farming across Asante Man Through his direct advocacy and the progressive agricultural policies of his traditional councils, he has turned the focus of his people toward the oil palm, rubber, and cashew that will secure the future of our rural communities. And so, in our collective mission to reset and build a sustainable green economy, it is fitting that we be guided by such a leader who does not just speak of development, but cultivates it, evidenced by his own personal efforts in the Nkuranza traditional area, where he cultivates mangoes and pineapple, the raw materials of the famous Budukwan juice. A true visionary and certainly an embodiment of wealth for his people and for our nation. Join me as we give a resounding welcome to the King of Asante, His Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, here represented by the Nkuranza Mahine, Nana Kwame Bafo IV. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Minister for Food and Agriculture, Honorable Eric Opoku, Honorable Ministers of State, distinguished members of the Diplomatic Corps, the Executive of the Tree Crop Development Authority, my son Andy, Honorable Members of Parliament, Nananum, traditional rulers and custodians of our land, heads of state institutions, esteemed development partners, captains of industry, distinguished investors, ladies and gentlemen. I'm indeed honored to be here on behalf of His Majesty, the Otumfuo Osei Tutu II Asante, and delivering this speech on his behalf. I am profoundly honored to join you as guest of honor at this pivotal national gathering. I commend the government of Ghana, led by His Excellency the President, the Tree Crops Development Authority, and all strategic partners for convening this international business summit at such a consequential moment in our national journey. This gathering is far more than an exhibition opportunity. It is a moment of national introspection, a moment of reckoning, a moment of resolve. Today, Ghana is deliberately returning to an enduring truth that our land, when nurtured with wisdom, discipline, and patience, remains our greatest and most sustainable source of wealth. The theme for this summit, sustainable growth through tree crops investment, resetting and building Ghana's green economy, speaks directly to the challenges we face and the opportunities before us. It calls upon us to reset our thinking, rebuild our foundations, and re-anchor our development on sustainability rather than expediency. For generations, cocoa has been the bedrock of Ghana's economy.
So,
It has educated our children, built our communities, sustained rural livelihood, and earned Ghana global recognition as a dependable agricultural producer.
so,
Cocoa is not merely a crop. It is a national symbol of discipline,
so,
sacrifice, and resilience.
so,
Yet, distinguished guests, responsibility demands honesty. Cocoa today faces serious and growing threats.
so,
Climate change is altering rainfall patterns,
so,
shortening growing seasons, and increasing pest and disease incidents.
so,
In several cocoa growing areas, yields have declined significantly over the past decade.
so,
Polluted rivers such as the Pra, Ankobra, and Ofin, and left behind degraded landscapes that neither cocoa nor life can easily reclaim.
so,
Cocoa alone can no longer carry the full weight of Ghana's economic aspirations.
so,
This is not a rejection of cocoa.
so,
It is a call for reinforcement. It is a call for strategic diversification. Your Excellency, I therefore warmly commend the government for its bold and forward-looking resolve to diversify Ghana's tree crop sector.
so,
The deliberate emphasis on cashew, coconut, oil palm, rubber, mango, and shea, with the ambition to develop each to rival and even surpass cocoa, is a vision worthy of national applause.
so,
This vision is not speculative. It is firmly grounded in economic logic,
so,
ecological necessity, and global market demand.
so,
As such, it deserves sustained attention and full national support and investment.
so,
If cocoa currently generates approximately $2 billion annually,
so,
it is entirely realistic to envisage a future in which 6 major tree crops collectively generate $12 billion annually or more for our economy.
so,
The combined strength of Ghana's diverse tree crops can become a powerful engine of sustainable growth.
so,
This journey will, however, require patience, long-term capital, discipline, and effective coordination.
so,
Tree crops are far more than commercial commodities.
so,
They are enduring environmental assets. They rehabilitate degraded landscapes. They stabilize soil and protect watersheds.
so,
They sequester carbon and mitigate climate change.
so,
They provide permanent vegetative cover against erosion.
so,
They support livelihood measured in decades, not seasons.
so,
At a time when Ghana seeks to reset and rebuild a green economy, tree crops present our most natural and reliable pathway.
so,
Unlike extractive activities that degrade the land for short-term gain, tree crops reward foresight, stewardship, and long-term commitment.
so,
My President, let us speak plainly. Illegal mining has inflicted deep wounds on our nation.
so,
It has polluted our waters. It has degraded our soil.
so,
It has undermined environmental sustainability.
so,
It is time we make a decisive and bold choice.
so,
And that choice must favor accelerated, responsible, climate-smart development.
so,
This is why I totally endorse this tree crop summit as a new pathway for Ghana's green economy.
so,
Mr. President, Your Excellencies, we must also speak frankly to ourselves.
so,
Traditional authorities are custodians of over 80% of Ghana's land.
so,
This responsibility goes beyond customs and tradition.
so,
It is a duty to future generations.
so,
History will judge us not by the stools and skins we occupy,
so,
but by the quality of land stewardship we uphold.
so,
I therefore issue a clarion call to all traditional authorities across Ghana.
so,
Let us deliberately make land available for large-scale, responsible tree crops development.
so,
This is not a call to dispossess our people. It is a call to partner wisely through structured leases, joint ventures, and outgrower arrangements that ensure inclusivity, fairness, and shared prosperity.
Zone.
When land is productively deployed, families are strengthened, communities prosper, and the nation advances.
Zone.
Distinguished guests, no national transformation succeeds on policy alone. Capital is indispensable. I therefore urge managers of financial institutions, pension funds, banks, insurance institutions, family offices, and high net worth individuals to deliberately redirect patient capitals towards large-scale investment in tree crops.
Zone.
Tree crops are long-term, resilient, inflation-hedged investment.
Zone.
They generate employment, foreign exchange, and integrational wealth.
Zone.
In advanced economies, agriculture attracts structured finance, insurance, research, and technology.
Zone.
Ghana must follow this path. Let us invite not only concrete and impulse, but in living assets and
Sure.
nature, but in living assets that mature with time and reward the future.
Zone.
Your Excellency, I must specifically acknowledge the Tree Crops Development Authority.
Zone.
The mandate entrusted to the TCDA is extensive and its responsibility correspondingly profound.
Zone.
Of course, I trust in my son, Dr. Andy Osei Okran.
Zone.
You have appointed to lead this institution will deliver.
Sure.
Of course, the science is clear. In my considered view, the tree crop sector constitutes one of the most potent levers for Ghana's economic transformation.
Zone.
I therefore strongly urge government to adequately resource the TCDA financially, technically, legally, and institutionally.
Zone.
An under-resourced regulator cannot nurture a world-class industry.
Zone.
An empowered TCDA, however, can position Ghana as a global hub for sustainable tree production, processing, and trade.
Zone.
This should not be considered as an expenditure, but as a strategic national investment.
Zone.
Mr. President, I am very passionate about this call because I have an extensive and a rich experience when it comes to tree crop sector.
Zone.
As you may be aware, I'm a commercial tree crop farmer. I have hundreds of acres of mango plantation in Nkranza.
Zone.
Not only a mango farmer, but I have also established an ultra-modern state-of-the-art mango pineapple processing factory, producing one of the best locally produced juice on the Ghanaian market.
Zone.
The vision is to expand it to a 10,000 acre in the next 5-10 years to create jobs for the growing youth.
Zone.
Tree crops development must be inclusive by deliberate design.
Zone.
Women and youth must be integrated not merely as labor, but as entrepreneurs, processors, exporters, innovators, and leaders across the various value chain.
Zone.
The share sector alone demonstrates what is possible when women are empowered, organized, and supported.
Zone.
When agriculture becomes profitable, dignified, and technology-driven, our youth will return to the land not out of desperation, but out of opportunity, pride, and purpose.
Zone.
In conclusion, Mr. President, distinguished guests, Ghana stands at a historic crossroad.
Zone.
One path leads to environmental degradation, fleeting gains, and enduring regret.
Zone.
The other leads to sustainability, resilience, and national renewal.
Zone.
Investment in tree crops is not optional, it is imperative.
Zone.
Let us therefore act decisively and collectively.
Zone.
Government, traditional authorities, private sector, financiers, citizens.
Zone.
Let us reset, let us rebuild, let us grow Ghana's green economy.
Zone.
Rooted firmly in our soil, guided by vision, and sustained by collective resolve.
So,
May our actions today secure prosperity for generations yet unborn.
so,
Long live tree crops sector. Long live Tree Crops Development Authority. Long live Ghana. Thank you very much.
so.
A true visionary who understands that the wealth of a kingdom is rooted in its land. The King of Asante, His Majesty, Otumfuo Osei Tutu II. Please put your hands together. And help me say a big thank you to his messenger, the Nkoranza Manghene, Nana Kwame Bafu. Nana Edawase, please convey our delight and appreciation to the King for standing as a living testament to the fact that both tradition and economic modernization can grow from the same soil. When the King speaks, on a day like this, there are only two people who can speak after him: the custodian of Ghana's food and agriculture, and the father of our nation. Please make welcome Ghana's Minister for Food and Agriculture, the Honorable Eric Opoku, MP.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, representative of His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II Asantehene, Honorable Ministers of State herein present, Division Director of the World Bank Group, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Secretary General of the Council of Palm Oil Producing Countries, Board Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the Tree Crops Development Authority, distinguished investors and development partners, presidents of value chain associations, our hardworking farmers, processors, and exporters, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor on behalf of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture and the Tree Crops Development Authority to warmly welcome you to the Made in Ghana Tree Crops Investment Summit and Exhibition. Today is not merely the opening of a conference. It is the opening of a new chapter in Ghana's agricultural transformation. Your Excellency, we are deeply honored by your presence. It signals the highest level of national commitment to the development of Ghana's tree crop sector and to the broader green economy agenda. To our international investors and partners who have traveled from across Africa, Asia, and Middle East and beyond, Ghana welcomes you. Your presence affirms confidence in our country and in the enormous opportunities that lie within the tree crop value chains. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for many years, Ghana's tree crop subsector expanded largely through private initiative and individual effort. Production increased, but coordination was limited. Regulation was weak, and value addition did not match potential. Today, the trajectory is changing. Under the leadership of His Excellency, President John Dramani Mahama, government has taken a deliberate decision to reposition tree crops as structured, regulated, and investment-ready drivers of economic growth. The objective is clear: to move from fragmented production to organized value chains, from raw export to industrial processing, and from untapped potential to measurable prosperity. Through the Tree Crop Development Authority, the ministry is strengthening regulatory oversight, improving data systems, enhancing licensing and compliance mechanisms, and creating a predictable operating environment for investors and exporters. Regulation is not an obstacle to growth. It is the foundation of sustainability and investor confidence. At this time, we are deepening productivity interventions. The ministry is scaling up the distribution of certified early seedlings, strengthening extension services tailored to tree crop agronomy, and establishing farmer training hubs across major production beds. We are promoting nucleus outgrower arrangements to ensure reliable raw material supply for processors and building traceability systems that meet international market standards. Our commitment to value addition is unwavering. Ghana will not remain content with exporting raw cashew, raw shea nuts, or unprocessed rubber. We are deliberately encouraging investment in processing facilities, agro-industrial parks, downstream manufacturing, and export-ready products. This transformation will create jobs, expand rural incomes, and increase foreign exchange earnings. We remain mindful that farmers are at the center of this agenda. Improving yields, reducing post-harvest losses, strengthening cooperatives, and ensuring fair markets are essential pillars of our approach. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, women who play a dominant role in the shea sector, and youth who are increasingly entering mango, cashew, and palm oil value chains will remain central beneficiaries of this transformation. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Ghana offers structured opportunity. We have suitable agroecological zones, a stable democratic environment, improving regulatory clarity, expanding regional markets under AFTA, and strong political will at the highest level. Opportunities abound in plantation development, processing and refining, industrial rubber applications, coconut derivatives, shea cosmetics, palm oil integration, and agribusiness services. This summit has therefore been designed not merely as a platform for speaking, has supported diversification initiatives in cashew, coconut, and rubber. However, the long-term growth of this sector will depend on blended finance, private capital mobilization, and responsible agribusiness investment. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture stands ready to facilitate, coordinate, and remove bottlenecks. We are committed to measurable delivery in seedling distribution, processing capacity expansion, compliance enforcement, and farmer income improvement. Policy must translate into impact. As host of this maiden summit, I extend 3 invitations. 1, I invite investors to explore Ghana with confidence and long-term vision. 2, I encourage farmers and cooperatives to embrace improved practices and quality standards. And the last one, I urge value chain associations to uphold discipline and professionalism that strengthens Ghana's global reputation. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, this summit represents the beginning of structured expansion in Ghana's tree crop sector. Together, let us move decisively from potential to prosperity. Let us build a green economy anchored in value addition, inclusion, and sustainability. On behalf of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, I warmly welcome you once again to Ghana Tree Crops Investment Summit and Exhibition 2026. I wish you fruitful deliberations and successful partnerships. Thank you, and may God bless all of us.
He is the MP for Asnafo South and Ghana's Minister for Food and Agriculture, the Honorable Eric Opoku, MP. Please. Thank you for those warm thoughts, setting the tone for the President of our Republic. Talk of inclusion, and I give to you the youth of Ghana. Representing them, Akusika. Please, a round of applause.
Oman Penyini, His Excellency, John Dramani Mahama, Otumfo Insi Anemu, PSC Tipa, or Santini PSC, Nana Kwame Bafua, Watosonai. Amani Maswafo, Ekunini etitri when intina Yashiam Waha, Memamunyana Makwabao, Midiani Anyensam Weseni, Ekusika from Pama Apu, Impenyini say ye wuja wumpenyini kasa, wunya income of radie, say mijina ha, na me say, oh mampenyini mampama wopam womaina nyamamoye, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Petra 1 minute wa mine ka mayen, when tia ubeye fie na wan me say fie, or dudu bribie da susua man senyina juwe tu, impenin fuase, baby a brum patawano. Ehwana nkokwa mpreko gonja niba odudu obribie nyansani nyansabisa. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama wona yedi wejran kensen konson kanta tu petetu krochi amansani monyamfa wani monyamu nyina faako wani monyamu nyira bedwem okwantimpo mu kusia wuni mirikan kunemo mu wa kokodro. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Ghana maisi monu yo aji wudini wudin wona yesa wo mrane se no kwasem an apampamra watrana tabanso aya kata so akata Ghana deja so. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama baby ayesa ne mrane se anwampamu je na ne hompa Ghana ye economy nu ai achemfuna kata chiodi ahoda ndani firi soro baye obobore ebo. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Emma Amemuopa, I Eban agricultural sector, yes CJM Duam, Eban education, yes CJM Duam, Eban health sectors, yes CJM Duam, Eban schools, yes CJDM, Udia Sheta, E-blocks are Udia Sheta, markets are Udia Sheta. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Ghana mindset na godo, mwe bru, inshranka. Any wokunini, rampi mukatawra wadia sampama yachiremu, or kotopa, ayasana mranesa kuropetua, wabatu efie ye yoso, Siribosi chinyan kumedu katawra yasneni sukodi mensem, Dr. Andy Osei Okra, where you know Amayen say, CEO for Tree Crops Development Authority, Mampenini, Wabwejuma, Enshrankau, Adasame, ye frefre investors so said the young contonsu frefre was swan of Pahema in Penin Force, young Fanny Pabako, and Chechero wa mine, Baku for red rat, egu, I'm Bako for son shreddam for Manima, Bako for San Sunya Mianikata, in Suan Suan the Yiria Subontain, a boada boaswana, your friend a sabepo, Ghana, my abane cashew, mango, coconut, rubber, oil palm, and share, ye dimun tintin my, as far as anyway, Monso or mine as anyway, Nayan to Mimi Fabi, and qua mine for Frosso, now a mine Ghana and Quaswan fan to my paying fra, Nayan Yajina be a paying, or man penny John Dramani Mahama, Yadina Janachan Ponch and also, I am Manasaya, where Timidi aboda dear so. Momani unune se suputu pudoma brewana brewadum suprupu bra suprupu dum so propo na so propo sudum suprupu. His Excellency Ase John Dramani Mahama, Entasuntasu Yiribome, Botensime Hinue, or Dudu Bribia da Suswaman Sanju Watu, Bamaba, Mampenin Huafefu, Waba, Ohirepa, Nyansani, Ejumera, Punsunumera, Ohimpon, sorry, Momuso, Kasamaye, Waba, Yamawakwaba, Asanta Minda was a Ghana Minda was ya Pia.
Kindly resume your seats. Thank you. Let me thank our young daughter for the very wonderful appellation she gave me before I came to speak. It is encouraging to know that our future generations still are able to master our culture and traditions. The tradition of oratory and appellations has existed for a long time, and it's encouraging that, you know, our young sister here is following in that tradition. Thank you very much. Some of the things she said I didn't understand. The tree, the quality of my tree doesn't reach that standard, but we thank her. We live in a dangerous sub-region, and a recent incident has shown what the threat of instability and insecurity is to our regional integration and trade. As has been the tradition over decades, we trade amongst ourselves. And so agricultural products from Ghana are traded into Burkina Faso, and agricultural products from Burkina Faso, Niger, onions, tomatoes are traded into Ghana. Recently, some traders from Ghana went to Burkina Faso to buy tomatoes, and they were ambushed in a village where they were transacting, and armed insurgents, terrorist armed groups attacked, and unfortunately, we lost a number of our compatriots. Happily, there are few survivors, and so the Ghana Army is arranging to medevac them from Burkina Faso so that those who are injured can continue to receive treatment here in Ghana. And so on behalf of government and people, we express our condolences to the families of those who were either killed or have been injured. Agriculture is one of the most important contributors to our GDP, and it is a business that has long been looked down upon. I have two experiences. One, the son of a farmer. My father was at one time the biggest commercial rice farmer in Ghana, and so I grew up on the farm. And so for me, agriculture is a passion, it's a hobby, and I just love to see crops grow. Aside from that, my second experience is I've traveled far and wide, and sometimes I visit a country, and my colleague president invites me to visit his farm, and I've been impressed with what they do. I mean, public servants, ministers, every weekend, if you go to East Africa and other places, you better not make an appointment with a public servant on a weekend because you won't get him. On Friday, they leave to their farm, they come back on Monday and go to work. And so what Andy was saying, it's in line. Public officers, you know, ministers, MPs, traditional rulers especially, because they are the custodians of the land. One of the major hindrances to tree crop development is access to land. And so traditional rulers especially, you know, should take an interest in this initiative of promoting tree crops. So in whatever geographical area of the country you are, if it's in the north, a shea nut plantation, if it's in Brong-Ahafo area, cashew, if you're in western region, rubber, cocoa, you know, and if you're in Dodowa area and other places, mango, And so all of us must take an interest in the agricultural sector, and especially in tree crops. Nana Kwebu Ewusi, Andy referred to my own tree crop farm. Nana Kwebu Ewusi gave me 50 acres of land, and on the 50 acres. So I'm a cocoa farmer. And so when the price was reduced by government, it affects me too. I want to be able to empathize with farmers so that when we take any policy decision, we know that it has an effect on farmers and we feel it ourselves. If there's no fertilizer, if the price is expensive, I feel it myself because I also buy fertilizer. I recently, and this time I've dedicated it to oil palm. And so we've planted the oil palm, we're putting in the irrigation. And so I'm endorsing Andy's suggestion. When I'm going to do a reshuffle, the mitigating factor will be that you must have a farm. So public servants, ministers, from agriculture, just next door in Cote d'Ivoire, almost every public servant, has a farm. And so let's take agriculture seriously. We must walk the talk, we must lead by example. We can't just always talk and say people should go back to the land when you yourself are not going back to the land. Recently, we've had a crisis with cocoa. It hasn't affected only Ghana. It's affected all cocoa-producing countries. And it shows how unstable raw material exports are if you don't process and add value. And that means that we must take advantage of this crisis to make a pivotal change in how we handle our raw exports. And we've exported raw beans since Gordon Gaggisberg's time. For those of you who don't know Gordon Gaggisberg, he was one of the colonial governors. And Ghana, at that time, was the leading exporter of cocoa. And to think that in the 21st century, we are still the largest leading exporter of raw cocoa beans, that is not an accolade we should take pride in. We should take pride in being the leading exporter of manufactured cocoa products. And so this crisis must mark a turning point in our cocoa industry. As I explained when I spoke in Addis, we collateralize the beans and they give us money to buy the cocoa and export. So because of that, we cannot even allocate enough of the beans to our local processors. And that's why government took the decision that we should change the funding cycle of cocoa by raising the money locally in cedis, paying the farmers, and then allocating a certain portion of the cocoa beans to our processing capacity, and even increase the capacity to process locally so that we can create jobs within our value system and also stabilize the price of the cocoa that we produce. So without much ado, as Jerry, the MC, said, I'll acknowledge the representative of Otumfuo, our ministers of state, our international partners, and just say distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is a privilege to join you at this inaugural Ghana Tree Crops Investment Summit. Let me start. This summit is not merely ceremonial, it is strategic. It reflects a central commitment of the NDC's 2024 manifesto, which is to reset Ghana's economy by strengthening productive sectors, expanding exports, creating decent jobs, and positioning agriculture as a driver of industrial transformation. There's an Akam proverb that says, "Ofro duapa ni pion." When you climb a good tree, that is when you are supported. Today, I must say, Ghana is climbing a good tree, the tree crop sector. And so we invite all Ghanaians, our investment partners, our diplomatic partners, to climb this tree with us. For decades, agriculture has contributed about 21% to our GDP. And cocoa has been our pride, earning roughly $2 billion annually and supporting millions of livelihoods. The 2024 manifesto says clearly that Ghana must move from dependence to diversification. Climate shocks, global price volatility, and environmental stress demand that we broaden our agricultural base. Economic resilience requires reducing our over-reliance on single commodity exports. And this is why tree crops are central to our agriculture for economic transformation agenda as set out in our 2024 manifesto. Beyond cocoa, our 6 priority crops, cashew, coconut, oil palm, rubber, mango, and shea, form the backbone of this diversification strategy. Together, these crops employ over 1.6 million Ghanaians and support strong rural economies that promote gender inclusion, contribute 2% of our GDP, and 4.5% of agricultural GDP. The numbers tell a very powerful story. Share supports over 500,000 households, mostly women, and cashew employs nearly 890,000 people. Rubber supports about 500,000 farmers, and oil palm provides jobs for over 120,000 Ghanaians. These are not secondary crops, they are engines of transformation. Our manifesto commits us to transforming agriculture into a high-value, export-driven sector, and tree crops are central to that vision. Government is committed to building a 24-hour economy, a system in which production, processing, logistics, and exports operate continuously round the clock to maximize productivity and to create jobs. And tree crops are well positioned within this 24-hour economy framework. We will no longer export raw cashew, and so I invite our investment partners who export cashew to come and build the capacity to process our cashew locally. I want to travel and be able to buy cashew and see produce of Ghana, not produce of India or produce of some third-party country. We will no longer export raw cashew, raw shea, or unprocessed rubber, while importing the same finished products at higher prices. And so our target is clear: 50 to 60% local processing annually, expansion of agro-industrial parks, incentives for private sector processors, and stronger regulatory oversight through the Tree Crops Development Authority. Under the National Policy on Integrated Oil Palm Development, we call it the Red Gold, government is committed to invest $500 million to develop 100,000 hectares of oil palm and create 250,000 direct jobs. If we achieve this target, it will eliminate the 40% oil palm imports that we import from other areas and make Ghana a net exporter of oil palm. And so this is consistent with our pledge to scale up high-impact agricultural value chains with strong private sector participation. And we're placing emphasis on empowering especially women and our youth. Tree crops deliver exactly that. Women processors dominate the shea industry. Cashew and mango offer strong opportunities for young people to engage in agribusiness. Coconut and oil palm create processing and logistical jobs. And so through improved seedlings, farmers' hubs, access to finance, and matching grants for small and medium enterprises, we're going to build inclusive value chains. Agriculture must be modern, it must be profitable, and it must be attractive to young people. And so this summit's theme speaks to Ghana's green economy. Tree crops are climate-positive assets. They enhance carbon sequestration, they reduce soil degradation, they promote biodiversity, and strengthen climate resilience. And so our tree crop strategy supports both economic and ecological transformation. Today, therefore, I officially relaunch and accelerate the Ghana Tree Crop Diversification Project. Under this $200 million World Bank-supported program, 7.8 million cashew seedlings, 2.3 million rubber seedlings, and 3.9 million coconut seedlings will be distributed to over 30,000 farmers. And I hope that you here will be part of the 30,000. 52,775 households will benefit directly from the program, with 185 small and medium enterprises receiving matching grants. I've directed the Tree Crops Development Authority and Cocoa Board to expedite implementation of this program. Our farmers must see results, not paperwork. My administration is committed to expanding Ghana's export base and leveraging the African Continental Free Trade Area. And tree crops will position Ghana to supply the West African markets, access Middle Eastern markets, and Asian markets, and expand processed exports and reduce foreign exchange vulnerabilities. Our 2035 ambition remains 12 billion annual exports, which will translate to 2 billion per crop. So for all the crops mentioned, from coconut to cashew to rubber, we expect $2 billion in export earnings from each of these sectors. It's very ambitious, I agree, and yet it's achievable if each of you here participates in growing one of these crops. The resetting agenda is about production, it's about jobs, it's about exports, it's about value addition and inclusive growth. And the tree crop sector encompasses all these 5 items I've mentioned. So let the Ghana Tree Crops Investment Summit
and sustainable tree crop sector. There's fodder for our afternoon session, where we are going to have in-depth presentations on all 6 thematic areas. But for now, I just want to salute our security forces who actually spearhead the tree crop agenda in Ghana in a very unique way. Please, a round of applause for all our security forces here in presence. Thank you very much. We would like to say a big thank you to each and every one of you, but allow us to acknowledge 2 particular individuals who have been integral in our cause. For the next few minutes, help me as I receive up here our CEO and our board chair as they make the first presentation. A round of applause as they come.